Welcome back to my YouTube channel and tutorial number 2 for the Fall Market mini album that I designed by Country Craft Creations. We're going to start by working on page 3 in the video 1 tutorial. We made our cover for the album and cut all our base pages, which is what I have right here in front of me, and we cut the flaps for pages 1 and 2 and assembled those pages and set those aside. So I have another base page that has again been cut the size of a base page. You should have had 5 of these cut, and they are all cut at 8.5 wide by 6 tall, and were scored at the 1/2 inch mark to create the hinge. So this is what we have for page 3, and I'll show you how to cut the base pages in video 1. So we're going to take this base page, and I'm going to turn this hinge back so that I don't have it in my way. I'm going to set this aside for a minute. Let's go over our flaps and things that we had to cut for page 3. We need one that is 8 by 3. We need 4 that are cut at 4 by 5. And 2 that are 4.5 by 4.5. Okay, so we're going to take the first one, the 8 by 3, and we're going to put the 8-inch length in at the top of the scoreboard and score at a 1/2 inch. Then we're going to take our 4 by 5s, and we're going to put the 5-inch in at the top, and we're going to score each of these at a 1/2 inch. And I did get me a new tool for scoring. It's called a Cricut. I really like it. So you could probably pick that up at your local craft store or scrapbook store. So I'm going to score all these at a 1/2 inch. So we have that done. And then we need did I do these already? I'll do them again in case I didn't. These 4.5 by 4.5, and we're going to put the 4.5 just one side. It doesn't matter because it's the same all the way around. So you put a 4.5 in at the top, and you're just going to make 1/2 inch score on both of these. We don't need any other score lines on that. Okay, so now we're ready to assemble. Okay, so let's take our page, and the first thing we're going to do is fold and burnish all these score lines real quickly. I'm going to speed up the camera on this so it doesn't take up a lot of time. I'm just going to make sure that I'm scoring them really well. I'm not scoring, but burnishing really well on the score lines of all the flaps for page 3. Okay, so now take your page. We have the hinge on the left for page 3. This is the front of it, and I'm going to straighten this out. The first thing I'm going to do is take 2 of these that were cut 4 by 5s and then scored at a 1/2 inch. This makes them 4 by 4.5. And I want you to dry fit them across this page because they should have been cut. Your page is 8 inches. These are each 4, so they should fit perfectly. If not, you want to make sure that it's on the edge here and not over. And then they should meet here in the center and not be over the edge there. So you want to put it to the edge here. So you might have just a slight little space in there for clearance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put these 2 on. I have the hinge folded back, so I'm just putting glue on the 1/2 inch part of the hinge. And then I'm going to move this in so I can see it a little better. I'm going to line it up the fold of the top along the cut edge and make sure the cut edge of this is right along the fold of the hinge here. And burnish that down, wipe off any excess glue. And then put the second one on the same way. Glue on the back of the hinge, just on that 1/2 inch part. And then line it up to the cut edge over here, and make sure it goes all the way up to the top of the cut edge up here. So they should be even down here at the bottom. Just going to make sure that nothing's sticking off where I don't want it. Okay, let me see here. I'm off a little bit here at the bottom. Right there, I'm going to just re-burnish that and make it fit. So there's the top flaps that open up like that, okay? Now set this aside. Grab your other two that are same size. So these are your 4x5 scored 1/2 inch, so this becomes a 4x4.5. And we're going to attach this other flap, and it shall attach to the left side and to the right side of these flaps. So you want to make sure your hinges are folded under and are at the bottom here. So they're right here. I'm going to take this one, put glue on the 1/2 inch hinge, and carefully line this up on the left cut edge of this left flap. Make sure they line up on the bottom. You want them straight. Okay, burnish that. Open it up and double check. Now this one, same way, you want the hinge here at the bottom. You take the glue, put it on the 1/2 inch of this flap. This one's going to attach to the right side, right along that cut edge. Make sure they're lined up straight. They should fit perfectly if you did your scoring correctly. And your cutting, that's important too. Open that up. And there we have that. So bring your page back in, open these up. Now we're going to attach this one to the right on the bottom. You want your fold so that this opens to the right like that. So put your glue on the 1/2 inch. Line it up on the bottom and on the side. Just make sure we got it all straight. Open this up and open it here. So now you have this double flap that opens like this and then down like this. So the other one goes on the other side. So make sure that this hinge is going on the bottom. So put glue on your 1/2 inch. Right there. Hope I'm staying in camera. Attach this to the bottom edge and along the left. Okay, should have dry fit those a little bit better. Okay, I'm going to make sure. There we go. Burnish. Open this up and burnish down here. Okay, so there's that flap like that. There's page 3. Now we need to add a closure. So we're going to open all this up. It's down here. I'm going to close this one down. I want this to attach to the left side, but I want it to lay so that it's even as I can with this bottom of this flap on the right, top flap. So glue on your 1/2 inch. This page will look really complicated once it's all done, but it's really easy to put together. Just slide that down and make sure it lines up. There we go. And burnish. Of course, we will have magnets to keep everything closed. We're not doing those right now. So this goes down, this goes up, and this will go over. And if you need to burnish a little bit right there, and and a magnet will hold it down. So that is page 3. So now let's turn it over. This will be what we're working on for page 4. So let me grab those pieces and go over those with you. On page 4 we need 2 3.5 by 6 and 1 9 by 2.5. This becomes a pocket. So go ahead and fold and burnish your score lines. Oh, I forgot to show you the scoring. Let me do that real quick. I had already pre-scored, but I am going to show you that real quick. So for the pocket, put the 9-inch in at the top. You're going to score at a 1/2 inch and at 8.5. Let me fold those. We've already got those folded. Grab these other two. You put your 3.5 inch at the top. Score at a 1/2 inch on both pieces. These are like gate doors. Just score that. Now that we're ready to fold and burnish these two. Fold and burnish. Now grab your page 4. Let's make sure we have the hinge to the right so that we have the up top and the bottom in the right orientation. So I'm going to put the pocket on first. So your pocket is cut and scored so that it fits between the folding of the hinge and the edge of the page. So put your glue on each 1/2 inch hinge and then right along one edge of the bottom to seal that up. And we're going to go ahead and line this up on the left side. Make sure the bottom's lined up. I line it to this side over here, which will give me extra room here. You don't want to start over here and have it sticking out. So this will work just fine. We're going to burnish that to create this pocket. Now we're ready to put the flaps on. So we're going to put a flap on the bottom on top of the pocket, right here. And put the glue on the 1/2 inch. And line it up so that it goes right on top of that pocket. You don't want to go into that fold, so just make sure it has plenty of room there. And go ahead and burnish your hinge. Open that up. And then I'm going to close it back up so I can line these up. Glue on the 1/2 inch hinge. Put some glue underneath there. I want to wipe off. And we're going to line this up so that these are lined up here. Make sure it is lined up here at the top straight. Burnish that. And there we have our flap for this page. That is page 4 with a pocket. Okay. Okay, so page 3 and 4 are done. I'll set those aside. And now we're ready to do page 5. It's a really simple one. I'm going to go ahead and burnish my page hinge. And you can leave it folded back if you want to. That makes it easier. You just need one flap. You need one cut at 4.5 by 6. Then you're going to score that. Put your 4.5 in at the top. And then just score 1/2 inch. Okay, this one's the easiest one. Now you can make your album just like mine. You can use any or all of these page designs if you want to, or you could just keep it real simple by using one like this all through the book. This is going to line up right here on this side of your page. You could put it on either side if you want to switch it up. I put mine here. I'm going to put the glue on the 1/2 inch hinge. And just line it up right along that fold line. Keep it straight. Make sure it's straight even on the bottom and at the top. Okay, then we're going to burnish that. And that is page 5. Okay, so we have all our pages done. I'm only going to show you page assembly of page 1 through 5. Your page 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 are exactly the same. So you just repeat what you did for page 1 will be your page 6. What you did on page 2 will be your page 7. What you did on page 3 will be your page 8. What you did for page 4 will become page 9. And page 5, what you did on page 5, you do duplicate for page 10. So you're just going to repeat. So just rerun the video and recut, and you should have already have it cut, but rescore everything exactly the same and assemble everything the same. So that is the assembly of the pages. So next we're going to be working either on the waterfall next and the pocket in the back, or I think I'll do those first and then show you how to put your pages in your album cover. Okay, so I have all my pages assembled. Remember page 1 through 5, and then I showed you on the tutorial how to do that. Pages 6 through 10 are a repeat. So 6 is the same as 1, 7 is the same as 2, so on. So I have all these ready to go. All the flaps and pockets are attached. At this point, you can decide whether you want to pattern your pages before putting them into the album, or if you want to put them in and then pattern on with them inside the album. I tend to go ahead and put my pages in and then have my book completed and then pattern and decorate it as I go. Whichever you want to do is fine. So I will show you how to put these in, but first I'm going to assemble the waterfall and add a pocket to the back inside cover. So I'm going to set these aside for now. So let's grab our cover here, set it up here at the top, and I have pre-cut for my waterfall. We're going to have a closure flaps, so I have cut one at 6 by 6.5, and I have one that is 6, that's the height, by 5.5. And then I have for the base of my waterfall, I have one that is 8 3/8 by 5.5. Okay. Then for the waterfall pages, I have cut 8 that are 5.5 by 6. So we need to do some scoring real quick. For the flaps, this is the 6 by 6.5. You're going to score your 6.5. So put 6.5 at the top. You're going to score at a 1/2 inch. And then your 6 by 5.5, put 5.5 at the top of your scoreboard and score at a 1/2 inch. So this is the flaps that will hold the waterfall closed inside our cover. And then this piece, your 5.5 by 8 3/8 is your base to assemble your waterfall. And then you have 8 pages that are 5.5 by 6. We're going to put the 6 inch in at the top, and we're going to score at a 1/2 inch. You're going to do this on all 8 of them. So we have scored the 6 inch side, 6 is here at the top. We have scored all 8 of them at a 1/2 inch. First thing we need to do is fold and burnish all the score lines on the waterfall pages. Make sure you give it a really good crease and burnish, because you want these to flip up and down really good. And I've done 8. I don't know yet if all 8 will fit. If not, I will adjust the cutting guide so that you're not wasting any paper. Hopefully they will. I calculated and they will all fit. So these are your 5.5 by 6 inch pieces that you scored on the 6 inch side at a 1/2 inch. Okay, so we have those. Now then we need our piece here that is 5.5 by 8 3/8. I'm going to put the 5.5 at the top. This is where we're going to assemble this waterfall. So it should fit exactly. here at the top. So you're going to take your glue or score tape, whatever adhesive you like to use, and I'm just putting glue on the 1/2-inch hinge here, and I'm going to place it right at the top. Make sure that we're squaring this up on the sides all the way up to the top so that it should be even. You've got a few minutes with glue to adjust it. Burnish that down. This first one is really, really important. So once we've got that down straight, you see the line, the cut line of the hinge, the piece that we just put down. So you take your second one, you put glue in the 1/2-inch, back of the 1/2-inch of this one, and you're going to line up the fold right up against the cut line of the one you just put down. So you have a 1/2-inch space in here. And again, let's make sure that we're getting it lined up here with this base piece. Burnish it, lift it up, and burnish. So I'd like to check them to make sure they look good. See, like that. So we have 2 down, and we're going to keep putting it on the same way. So this third one I'll show you, then I will speed up the video so you can watch, but I won't be explaining what I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and put this third one on the same way. It's a 1/2-inch down from the fold of the previous one. I'm lining it up on the sides here, burnishing it down, lifting it up, and burnish. And keep going. Okay, so I have 6 here on here, and it looks like that is going to be our limit. So you only will need 6. I'm going to adjust that on the cutting guide. So you only need 6 flaps. 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you have the back here. So you only need 6 because that's what will fit into this space here. Okay. Okay, so I've taken my 2 flaps, the wider one here for the left and the shorter one, and I've rounded the corners with my corner chomper, and I am going to glue these down into the book, the front inside cover. So I'm going to take glue, apply it to my 1/2-inch hinge, putting the widest one over here on the left, lining up the fold of it with the edge, just slightly in the edge of the album, and I am eyeballing it so I have about a 1/4 inch top to bottom. There we go. Just like that. So that's the left side. We burnish that in. And then the other side is going to go to the left of the fold of the spine. So glue on your 1/2-inch. Let's make sure, let me move this ruler out of the way, that everything gets lined up to the edge of this hinge, or this section here. Make sure it's straight. Line it up. Okay, that looks good. Burnish that down. Now, we will add pattern paper to the inside section here before we actually glue this piece down into our book. And we will check it. It's possible that we will need to trim off this last little piece here. So right there on that line, I'm going to draw a line along the last flap, and I'm just going to trim that off. So it's about a 1/4 inch that I'm taking off. So that when it glues in, it will fit right within that area. Okay, so this will close up. So we wait on that until we're ready. Now we're going to make the pocket here. So we have one piece that is 9 3/8 by 3 1/2. And I've already scored it, so I scored it 1/2 inch on each end and 1/2 inch across the bottom. And then I'm going to miter cut this just at an angle where the lines meet at the corner. And we're going to fold this up. I wanted a wider pocket or thicker pocket where you can put more in it, and it's going to fit right in here. And then we can pattern down into the pocket, so I'm going to go ahead and attach it now. I'll put glue on the 1/2 inch sections of the hinge, all 3 sides. And then we're going to line it up and make sure it doesn't go over the fold line or extend beyond the edge of the book. In the bottom, it's best to match it up down here versus having it go in too far in the edge here. So I'm going to burnish this down really well. And there we have a pocket in our inside back cover. So our cover's done. And now we can add in our pages. If you're going to do it now, I'm going to move this out of the way. Okay, so I have the album cover ready for the pages. If you are wanting to pattern yours and decorate before putting them inside the book, that's fine. I'm going to be putting mine in the book and then adding the pattern papers and decorating with them in the book. Either way is fine, whichever you prefer. I am going to go ahead and show you how to put the pages in now, and then I will work on the adding the pattern papers and the decorating off camera, and then we'll share with you what I've done. So this is where page 1 goes. You have your 1/2 inch hinge here. I want a 1/2 inch space between the fold of my book and the actual start of the page. So that's why I'm going to use this 1/2 inch here. So I'm going to look at it, and I want to make sure it goes in straight. So it's just going to sit just a hair beyond where I put this piece here in this spine cover. So I'm using glue. You can certainly use score tape if that makes you more comfortable. I find that glue gives me a little bit of wiggle room to adjust, and then holds it really, really strong. So I'm going to hold this up so that I can see where that fold, where it actually starts. And I'm going to place this right along that edge, and then I'm going to look at the bottom of my page and make sure it is as straight as it can be, and then I'm going to burnish this down, drop this so that I can get it in here, make sure it's even at the top, and then I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm going to really, really burnish this page hinge in. So I have the gap here. It's not hindered by that. The page will lay flat. So I'm going to flip it over, clean off any glue that may have oozed out from the back. I'm going to take page 3, the second set here, and this is going to fit up against this and leave a 1/2 inch space in between. Again, I'm putting glue on my 1/2 inch hinge here on the back, making sure that where my label is, that everything's going the correct direction, and I'm going to line this up, kind of butt it up against that fold there. Make sure everything's lined up here. I'm going to check my pages, and then burnish in here with my fingers, and then with the bone folder. Whoops, and make sure it didn't move. It moved just a little bit, so I'm going to grab it again and make sure that it stayed where I wanted it. So just be really careful if you're using glue that it doesn't move. So I'm going to flip this over. Page 5 is next. Clean this glue off. So it might help not to put as much glue up against the fold here. So I've got my 1/2 inch here. Oops. Put it on the wrong side. Sorry. Wipe that off. It's going to go like this. So I want the glue on the back side. Just have to pay attention to that. Now then I fit that 1/2 inch there. If you got some glue on there, if you did what I did, it's okay because it's going to be covered with little strips of paper. So I'm going to flip my page over. Make sure they're lined up. Okay, burnish with my fingers. And then with my bone folder. Make sure they stayed in straight. Okay. Flip this over. Page 7 next. Remember, this is going to go here, so we want the glue on the back side, the side where page 8 is. And then we're going to line this up, put it in, make sure we're lining it up. Straight across here. Whoops. For some reason my fingers are wanting to move it. I just want to check. Make sure. Okay. I'm going to hold it and burnish it. Flip it. And then page 9 is the last one. And it's going in right there. And I always end up with a little extra space on the back, and that's okay. If you wanted to scoot over and get more room in the front, you could do that. I'm just going to line this up right there. Make sure it's straight. And drop it down just a little bit. Okay, burnish that in with my fingers and burnish. Page 9, page 10, and there's the back of the book, so the pages are all in. How it looks from the top. From the bottom, they're all even. And you'll notice with this type of hinge, this L or flip hinge, all your pages will lay relatively flat depending on how many thicker embellishments you do. But they're all lined up nice and neatly. So I'm happy with that, and I'm ready for the pattern paper. So I will come back and show you what I've done. Basically, you cut it with the margins that you like. I tend to cut 1/8 of an inch shorter just on one side and 1/8 of an inch shorter in the length. So, for example, take your ruler on your cover and you're going to measure that this is about 8. You're going to have a little bit longer because of the wrapping. So where it bends here is where I'm going to put it. So it's 8.5. So I will cut mine 8 3/8 wide by, got 6.5 by 6 3/8 tall, and that's how I determine how wide I'm going to cut my paper. And remember, you will pattern this inside underneath here, and then completely glue this down to fit into your sections here. And I will probably stop the videos where I am doing a closure or magnet so that you can see that when I'm doing the patterning for that. So I forgot about that, so I want to show you that.